I'm Tom Brokaw. By the time these kids graduate, they will have spent 15,000 hours in school. One of the most important jobs.
Okay? So, if I put a half in to the inverse cosine, what's going to come out?
But it could be any number between 0 and pi.
What?
Any number between 0 and pi.
Any number between 0 and pi. Did he say that?
Yeah.
Say a little louder.
Yeah, but I didn't think there was just like one answer.
You've got to like the kids. If you don't like the kids, then you can't teach. And that's the truth. You've got to like them. You know, if you don't like kids, then you really shouldn't be a teacher. You should find something else to do.
Why? Because it's the only way we're going to get an inverse, right? If we have this is the cosine curve, all right? It passes the vertical line test, but it can't pass the horizontal line test. So in order to have an inverse function, we got to make it. So we take a piece of it, right?
I'm thinking about how long I'm going to stay in it. I mean, how long am I going to be happy in it? That's what scares me. You know, is there going to come a point where I'm just going to say, I just don't like it anymore?
Each teacher teaches 5 classes a day, has 1 duty, 1 conference period, and 1 lunch period. This is part of it, yeah. Everybody has duties, hall duties, bus duties, cafeteria duties. 6 teachers in the cafeteria. We have cafeteria duty all year. You're asking me to describe what I do. I mean, you know, they asked Mickey Mantle how he hits the baseball. He said, I don't know. They throw it and I hit it. You know, that's, I don't know how I do it. It's just something that I do.
Living over my house, though.
Why is this on the bottom?
Sometimes they change it around, Jess, you know. If they made it all the same, it'd be easy. One of the things that made me decide to be a teacher is the play by Robert Bolt, A Man for All Seasons, when Rich wants a job and Thomas says, don't be a teacher. And Rich says, well, you know, why should I be a teacher? Who's going to know it? He says, well, your friends will know it, your family will know it, your students will know it, and God will know it. And that's not a bad audience. And I think, you know, for me and for other people, I know Doc and Brent, that's basically, I mean, our families know we're good teachers. Our friends know we're good teachers. Our students may not admit it, but they know we're good.
What about that old saw that those who can do and those who can't teach?
Okay, I think teaching is doing. And if they can't do somewhere else, they can't really do it in teaching either. I would tend to think that person who can't do it somewhere else.
You think society respects you?
Yes, yes. Maybe not as much as they used to. I think it's there.
Why is that, do you think?
I don't know. I
Thank
have
you.
to think about that.
Just because you can do doesn't mean you can teach either. I think it is another skill.
You're a salesman out there. Think about it. Math is not the most exciting thing when you're trying to teach it to a lower level. I mean, you've got to get up there, trick them into thinking they're having fun in the class. You have maybe 30 kids these days in this school, talking to class 25 to 32. All those personalities in one room, try to keep them all seated there and try to mix your own personality in there and sell your subject to them. And make them think they're having fun and they understand it. You know, one student doesn't understand it and the next 29 do. How do you hold that? I mean, how do you still give that kid a fair shake and keep the rest of them interested in what's going on?
Hey, Joe, what's up? You gonna let Dave do them first and then you do them?
No, let's do set D.
Set D. Joe, if some of these people were eliminated from here, some of these students that don't want to be here. Joe, sit down. You know, if somebody like Joe wasn't here, then I could probably work a lot faster with the rest of them. But, you know, Joe's here, and Joe and I get along, and Joe's happy, and I'm not happy because there's some people in here that should be doing this. I should be giving more attention to.
6 cancels out, and T equals 6 into 78.
Okay?
Same thing as yesterday, right?
Right. That's what I said.
All that, just multiply that and divide by that.
Joe, you're so smart.
I went to college to be a math teacher. You know, after I graduated high school, I could teach general math. And I want to teach functions and trigonometry, and you know, I want to teach math. You know, this is part of the job. You have to be. I think you have to just be patient to be a general math teacher. I mean, just look at them, and you have to really want to help them. It's like the Woody Allen. You know, he talks about his brother goes to the psychiatrist, and because his brother thinks he's a chicken. And the psychiatrist says, you can't be a chicken. You know, you have to stop being a chicken. He says, I'd like to, doc, but I need the eggs. And, you know, that's what it's like. It just gets in your blood, and you really want to try to help.
I look around the school, and everybody is in snappy Reeboks, you know, and they work hard on their wardrobe. Mm-hmm. Here's Mr. Stanziano. He's got his blue button-down shirt and his tie on every day.
Every day.
Combs his hair, not like any other member. In the nicest possible way, he's a real square. He's got real good values, and and yet he's a really important influence in your life. But he's different than almost anybody you see walking out that hallway, right?
Yeah. Definitely is different. I don't think it's as much as what he wears, or, all right, I might try to look, like today, I knew you guys were coming in, so of course I wore a skirt and everything like that, because I wanted to look good. But it's not so much looking up to him because of what he wears, it's because of what he knows, and what he loves what he does, and he tries to bring that into us and make us love what we want to do. Which it helps out, you know.
Just at a time in your life when you need to hear
when
that.
I need that.
I mean, what good is all that on the board, you know, if you can't apply it to everyday life, you know? It's the same thing. It's just not math in here. You know, it's also, you know, being able to do it and apply it to your life, and that's why it's just not math, you know. It helps you with other things.
Every time I come in here and I'm really in a bad mood, he'll give us a lecture, and it's always what I'm thinking. It always happens like that.
Does he tell you all those corny jokes?
Yeah, a lot of corny jokes. It takes us about an hour to figure them out, and then afterwards, when we're at home, we figure them out. We're like, oh, that's what he meant.
Is that important?
Yeah, it makes learning fun.
How much of that do you think when you come into this classroom in the morning, do you think, I've got to get that stuff off the blackboard and into their minds, and how much do you think, I got to help get this kid through the day? Just get this young man or this young woman through the day as a human being.
I tell you the truth, it's, I got to get through the day. And if you give, you get back. So if I can get you through the day, it's helping me get through the day. And that's, I think, what really comes down. I mean, I have really bad days. And I get up in the morning and things are not going too good. And I just come in and I just say, I'm just going to do it.
You get worries at home about something in the family, or you're not feeling well, or you've got a bill that you may not get paid the way you like.
Bills.
Bills. Not just one.
One would be fine.
We started going to school the week we got married, as a matter of fact. So on our honeymoon, we went down the shore. We were coming up 2 nights a week so he could go to school. So up until, when did you graduate? It'll be 2 years ago, May? Yeah, 2 years ago, May, you graduated with your master's.
Yeah.
So for the 5 years, right, 5 years, the first 5 years we were married, he went to school at night to get his master's. It never bothered me. I knew they didn't make a lot of money. But I knew we were never going to have. Well, I guess I never really gave it much thought. That was just what he was, and that was fine. It was a respectable profession. The only thing is when my youngest sister went to go to was in college, and she said she wants to become a teacher, we said don't. Remember, Mary? I said, Mary, you think about it, don't.
It would be a little bit easier in the classroom if I can give up this job, this part-time job. I mean, these people are good to me, and I like working here, but I'm tired. No use complaining, because I want to be a teacher. My wife and I want to have children. So this is what we have to do. My salary in Tom's River, it comes to about $25,000 a year. And I have to support a family, 3 kids, 1 on the way. And how do I feel about that? You know, you only go through this life once, and if you can't do any good, then what good are you? So that's the way I feel about it, and that's why I went into it. And that's why I'm probably going to stay in it, hopefully.
Right now, this is what I want to do. I want to stay home with the kids. I want to be the one to be with them when they're sick. I want to be the one to teach them the things that Lenny and I believe in, and like this, I'd like to teach them to do. Right now, this is what I want. This is what we want. This is, all in due time. I'll do something else then.
Like father, like son.
Teachers work, a lot of teachers have part-time. The thing that's really sad, though, is sometimes, not all the time, but the part-time job becomes more important than teaching for the money aspect. You start to lose perspective. I've seen that happen with a lot of people. Or the job that they have becomes their business, and they start to lose perspective. I'm getting, you know, it's getting to the point where I'll go home from working here and try to do some, you know, look at the problems that I have to do the next day, and I'll fall asleep. You know, Barbara turns the alarm on because she never knows where she's going to find me, on the couch. But the idea is that when I go home here, I have to correct that.
Can I have a case of Bush cans, please?
No.
Cold?
It's my son's birthday today. Where am I? Just listen to me. If it's 3 and 2, and that's the root of 13, you want the secant. You've got the triangle. What's the secant? Chris, what's the secant? What? Don't look at that. Look at me. What's the secant? The secant is what? Should I be working another job? I mean, should teachers work another job? I mean, should a teacher's wife have to go out and work if they want to stay home? I mean, should they really have to do that? I mean, teaching it's not worth any money. It's not worth anything. I mean, the taxpayers want a great education. They want everything for their kids, but they don't want to pay for it. You know? Why? I can never understand that.
Betty, can I have a cold case of Bud bottles, please?
The process of inviting people to learn is part of helping them to develop their human potential, and it's very complex.
I was just going to say...
Mary Ellen Long is 21 years old, a senior at Georgian Court College in Lakewood, New Jersey. It's a small Catholic institution which for years has enjoyed a reputation for turning out fine teachers. Mary Ellen wants to be a special education teacher. Her roommate, Andrea Geddick, wants to teach math. They are among the very few who are going into teaching these days. Enrollment is down everywhere, and a serious teacher shortage has been predicted, particularly a shortage of good teachers. Teaching now ranks 22nd out of 26 chosen careers.
Go over the 4s, and then briefly go over the 3s and the 2s.
Good morning, Sister Peter.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I'd like Mr. Brokaw to see one of our basic classes, and this is Chem what?
Principles of chemical equilibrium.
And part of our liberal arts background, all our students must have science work.
Yeah, this is a fundamental course in sciences, right?
That is correct.
And the students who are in here are generally interested in a science curriculum of some kind?
Yes, that is.
And how many are interested in teaching? Not one.
We have 3 sections.
That's right, we do. We have, this course is primarily for the people intending to major in the sciences, and then we have another introductory course that I think would go more for the students of education. It's taught from a different standpoint rather than a different level.
Yeah, but now, sister, these are good science students.
They're very good science
and
students.
or they wouldn't be in here, right?
That's right.
And they have an active interest in science, right?
Very active interest.
But why aren't we getting science teachers out of these kinds of classrooms?
Well, I think they have a lot of competition in what is offered to them in industrial and medical careers, and I think this is the answer.
You spent most of your life teaching.
Yes, I have.
Don't you say to them?
Yes, I do.
But not without any success in here so far.
Well, we do have some in the major areas. I think this class just happens to be deplete, but that is not the whole story.
But there's a problem, isn't there?
There is a problem. You are correct.
In the sciences especially.
I think so.
Well, let's see what they think about it. All right. How come? I mean, you all like science, right? You're all interested in this as a curriculum, but you don't want to teach it. Look at that. All those heads going back. Why not? Money? Is that the big factor? You just don't earn enough money.
I've considered it. Yeah. I consider it off and on, and I give them credit. It's an important job. You have to get a great deal of information across to young students who are going to go out and do things in this world. It's, you know, your teaching that's going to make the scientists and other professions. So I think it's important. I give them credit.
But the money and the hassle is not worth it to you.
The money and the hassle mostly, because I enjoyed the sciences, and there's a great deal to learn, and if the students didn't really want that, I would find it very frustrating.
It shouldn't be that bad, but it might be.
No, it won't. No, it won't.
What if she says, I want you to take this?
She won't do that. Karen will listen to how you feel.
Oh, yeah.
Mary Ellen has been assigned to the Laura Donovan Elementary School in nearby Freehold, New Jersey. It's a special education class taught by Karen Stilts.
How old were you in 1775, Danny?
I wasn't on the earth.
You weren't on the earth yet. How old was your father in 1775, Danny?
They were still above.
Still above?
Yeah.
So in other words, do you know anybody, can anybody that you know tell you a story about the American Revolution firsthand? Can anybody tell you?
No way.
No.
So many people tried to talk me out of teaching. I graduated college kind of in the forefront of women's liberation, where if you were going to be a secretary, a nurse, or a teacher, you were deserting the cause. And I had a lot of peer pressure to go into something that was a male, traditional-oriented profession, to try to forge the way.
What was that very thing? Oh, I see one brave hand, two brave hands.
The Declaration of Independence.
Declaration of Independence. Okay, here comes the tricky part. Was signed when? I want the date, the month, the day, and the year. Danny.
July 4th, 1776.
Do you have children?
No.
If you had children, would you want them to be teachers?
No, but if I had children, I wouldn't be a teacher. I couldn't do this all day and go home to my own. I don't know. I know a lot of women do, and I have tremendous respect for them, but I couldn't do it.
You give all that you have to give to children right here.
It's emotionally draining. It's emotionally rewarding. It's also emotionally draining. And it's funny, people talk about the paperwork they bring home. I bring home more that I think about them, and I dream about them, and my husband tells me I talk in my sleep about them, and just the emotional involvement that you have, I think sometimes is more weighing on you than 3 hours of paperwork or those kinds of things.
You ready?
I taught regular elementary for 4 years. And what I find with this is they're more like a family, because I'll have the same children 3 or 4 years. And you get very involved with them. You get very involved with their progress, with their families. And I enjoy that.
He's been in my desk a few times without me.
Well, can you tell me why he's been in your desk? Has it been reasonable?
Mrs. Mom tells me to put something in my desk. When I put it in, he'll take it back out. When I sat here, tipping a little bit, he put his foot down on my chair and made me go down.
I don't...
And because...
Maybe this is why everybody's in such a bad mood today. What's the matter?
Brian keeps every day, Brian.
Brian needs quiet to do his work, Andy, and if he's asking you, it's because... you're not listening to me. Let me finish my sentence.
Here.
Just being a hubby.
How come I can hear you?
Oh, my goodness. Let's get organized here. What do you need? Nothing. Raymond, what do you need? Have a seat. Mrs. Moffat and Miss Mon, could you take everybody but these two guys to the computer room, please?
I'm Andy.
Take your lunches.
Yeah.
Now that we have peace and quiet. Brian, what's going on? Tell me your side of the story.
All I want to do is I want to sit here and do my work quietly. Without hearing squeaky chairs going back and forth like this, and Raymond and Andy whispering in the cubbies.
Do you think they're deliberately trying to get you angry? Is Andy rocking on his chair because, I'm gonna make Brian mad today? Is this what he's doing? What do you think? What do you think? I want your opinion. Do you think Andy would do that?
I don't have any idea.
Has he ever done it before?
Once. Just for a little while.
On purpose?
I don't know.
I'm asking you, would he do that to you on purpose?
No.
No, I don't think Andy would. Now, as much as you need to tip and as much as that's a habit, Brian also needs a lot of quiet to do his work.
Yes.
You've got to understand that about each other. If it's a problem, I understand that that might be a problem because of the way you need to do your work, that it's going to be a problem, that we might have to move you.
That's why I was thinking of me by Raymond, because we're always helping each other.
Right, you sat by Raymond before and it was fine. But Brian and Raymond wanted to switch, to be in the front and the back of the room. Would that be better, Brian?
Yeah, sure, I guess I'll try it.
You want to try it, or do you want to take lunchtime to think about it? All right, why don't you guys think about it and give me a definite answer after lunch.
Okay.
And we'll move the desks. And just remember, you guys have been good friends.
Yes.
Don't let little things like that ruin a good friendship, especially when we can solve them so easily.
And here's your pen.
Thank you. And you have to learn to organize your time, to condense as much as you can so it doesn't become overwhelming. You know, there's nights where you're sitting here at 5:30, 6 o'clock really discouraged because you still can't see over the pile and you've been working nonstop since they left at 2:30. And you don't think it's ever going to end.
There's so much to learn. You wouldn't believe how much there is to learn. It's so much organization. I don't know how she does it.
Can you go a semester without sleep?
There's a pile of papers this big at the end of the day for me to correct. Well, she showed me, how she corrects it and what she looks for and what she expects and stuff. So that's what we did. I didn't leave there until 4 o'clock, and then you can correct
Mom,
it.
I need some help on, is this best?
We're preparing children to be functional in society. And my attitude, especially working with learning disabled, for every child who can leave this room and be literate, feel good about themselves, have the confidence to go and get a good job and be self-supportive, is one less person in the welfare rolls, is one less person collecting unemployment, is one less person who might choose less than optimal social situations, because they'll have the confidence and they'll have the ability and they'll have the skills. And I look at school as where that starts. It's so very important. You have to be literate in this society in order to really be able to tackle the challenges that life brings to you.
Which was your hardest one?
I kind of formed that opinion out of anger for a lot of the negative attitudes I was getting of being only a teacher. I really feel that schools are taken for granted. Schools have been something that mandated by law for a long time, to the point where I think people just expect them to exist.
That's not myself, because I'm already done.
Our student teacher, Andrea Gaddick. Andrea is going to be with us for the rest of the term, is it not?
Right, until they graduate.
Until you graduate. She's going to graduate, and she's going to be a math teacher, believe it or not. And not only is she pretty, she's also intelligent and smart. Well, she's a math teacher. She has to be.
Which way?
This way.
I have to get my sense of direction.
Kind of jammed, huh?
Andrea Gaddick is 21 years old. She's from Pleasantville, New Jersey, and for the next 15 weeks, she'll work with Dr. Albert Leone, teaching algebra and trig and calculus to students who want to go on to college.
The main thing, I guess, to say is like from 8 to 14.
In the afternoon, she'll work with Pamela Adams, teaching Algebra 1 and General Math. There are 150 teachers at Toms River East. Miss Adams was voted runner-up for most popular.
1 to 31.
Sam, is it optional to check with foil, or do we have to check?
I would check with foil.
You check, but would you take off?
I'm not going to take off, but you're going to take the chance on getting it wrong. All right? All you can do is guide them.
Right.
All right?
Okay, it's all yours. All right, head your paper. This is quiz 1. Put algebra 1, and the date is 1/31. A lot of firsts. Okay? And don't forget to write your answers in the right-hand column. Same way. 1 through 14.
I think she's been well prepared and very confident herself. And like she says, she wants to be a teacher, so that desire to do a good job is there. There's quite a few courses that you take in college that prepare you, but I don't think anything prepares you as much as a student teaching itself. I don't think anybody can just walk in and become a teacher. The love for children isn't enough to do it. It's a lot of patience, knowing your material, and actually understanding that no matter what type of job you feel you've done, there are some students that are just not going to understand it.
Did you understand the method she taught yesterday? Is that how you're doing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like multiply these.
Okay.
When the students get used to her, that's when they tend to try, let's see what we can get away with.
You gotta watch it, because kids are funny. They want to get everything right, so they'll con you into giving them the full answer. Like this one here. Perfect example.
Me?
Yeah, now watch this. Is this right, Miss Adams?
Yeah, this is right.
See? Now he wants the right answer.
Of course, I'm not stupid.
You're gonna be late for class.
Oh, can I have a pass, please?
I don't know. Better talk to your
you add
teacher.
these up, and you set these up.
I can't tell you that. That's what I'm testing you on, okay? Just go straight. I'll show you a shortcut down
Okay. Every time after I finish, I feel good.
Yeah. I think one of the greatest things about teaching is when the class is struggling for a while, then all of a sudden, no matter, you say something, you're not sure what it is, and it's just like turning on a light. They all see it, and it's like such the neatest feeling. It's like finally they understand it, and then they think, oh, this is easy, you know?
Yeah. All right, 4/6 equals 1/3. I mean 2/3. 4/6 by itself. And what's 1/2 of 2/3?
2/3?
1/3, right. All you're doing is, if you're just multiplying fractions. You have 4/6 times 1/2.
At first she was nervous, you could tell, because I don't think she's really gotten up in front of a class before.
She kept asking the students, how she was doing and everything after each period. And she would be like all shaky and everything. Every time she made a mistake, it would be like, she'd get like all hyper and everything.
And then 4/12 is the same as it should be the same as 2/6, and you have 1/2.
As a group to walk into, I think we'd probably frighten her.
You
have a good
reputation of being very smart, and she was just concerned that after having Dr. Leon, it would be hard for us to understand a regular teacher.
We can't say the distance was -5 units.
But then once you got to know her, you were like, you just the way she was teaching, you could tell that you could trust like what she was saying, it was right.
Switch it around. So your X is first.
Oh yes, it's going this way. She likes to have everybody, like, make sure everybody participates. Like, we go up to the board a lot and write things out, and if you don't understand, she makes sure everybody understands.
Or?
Oh, I see. All right.
Want to be the whole graph?
Oh, we got it.
G is greater than -3.
Andrea had no trouble teaching Dr. Leon's students. They were motivated and disciplined. They wanted good grades so they could get into a good college. By the end of her second week, teaching was going well, and she was enjoying it. The afternoon classes with Miss Adams were another matter. Here she was expected to motivate and to discipline students who were not much interested in motivation or in discipline. For a new teacher, this is a challenge for which they're just simply not prepared.
All right. And if we're left with, if we have 508,000, 1 point, I was writing on the board, and I was just ready. I felt the tears are right here, and I just felt, I was all ready. I was all ready to just let it all go and cry, but no, I'm strong. I was fine. Move up and share with Kathy, Sharon. I told you can't share here.
Never mind.
I told you, Sharon. All right, now if you please continue to talk to the class, I'll be forced to take action. Okay. And I will. And I have. You can ask people. You think it's funny?
No, I know.
I try. It's so hard to be a good teacher. I don't know how to do it. And you try and get them to do what you want them to do and just behave and sit there and listen and be ideal students. But that's not fun either. I want to make my life exciting. So they each try and do little things to get at me. Sarah, move your body into your correct seat.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the book.
I told you if you wanted to share, you share with a person, one person.
I am, Sarah McKelly.
Don't argue with me. Move, Sharon.
Crap, teacher.
She is. I don't like how it's going, but I usually save my serious crying for the car ride home. Why am I teaching? Am I teaching them to be better people? Am I teaching them percents? Am I teaching them what is most important? To teach them to sit and behave in class? You know, what are my goals? Every time I look at it, my philosophy of education, which I don't think I have right now, because I think it's going through a drastic change. I don't know what it is. And when I go for a job interview and they ask me to write down my philosophy of education, I'm going to have to think real quick and probably make something up because it's not developed yet.
If the kids don't like her, it's not a big deal. As long as they walk out understanding the information, that's what counts. And I guess that's the hardest thing to accept. And I don't know if you ever do accept it. You just learn to deal with it. I mean, many times I've been in the class and I'll be teaching this, that, and the other, and I'll get a smirk in the back or like the roll of the eyes, like, who really cares? It's 8th period. Let's go out of here. And for a new teacher, that's very difficult. She's all pumped up. All right, this is it, the final phase. I'm going to become a teacher. And she comes in, she's all prepared, she's got all the notes written out, and she's going to do everything just perfect. She's afraid to make a mistake. She doesn't want to. And the kids are back there, you know, she's going over something, and it's like, it's distracting. Oh, wait a minute, everybody's not listening to me. You know, what's wrong? Or, you know, somebody's just looking at you like, I'm not here, I don't want to be here, and I don't want you to be here. And that look in itself is intimidating. I mean, try to set yourself up. You're on stage every day. The way you dress, the way you look, if your hair's out of place, they're going to know. And they'll criticize on that. It's like they're not even going to let that go by. You know, oh, your shoes, they look pretty funny. Or, well, you know, why are you dressed like that? It's tough.
Tough on the teachers dealing with you, isn't it? Would you like to be a teacher dealing with you?
No, definitely not, especially high school. If I was a teacher, I'd go for the elementary school.
You wouldn't go to high school?
Because you can control them. You can't control teenagers.
When you get here, what's the first thing that's most important to you? Come on, be honest.
Seeing her friends. Or her boyfriend.
Seeing a boyfriend. And then what's next important?
Going to class and staying out of trouble. Yeah.
Staying out of trouble. You have to work to stay out of trouble?
Well, even if I don't go looking for trouble, it finds me, you know?
Chases you right down the hall?
No, I
jumps
just,
in your pocket, right?
I mean, I used to cut classes in the beginning of the year, but now I can't because then I'll get thrown out.
What makes a good teacher?
Listening to your problems, being
Listening,
a friend.
Listening to your problems, being your friend.
Yeah, definitely. Like Miss Adams is a real good teacher. I mean, she's a teacher, but she's still a kid, you know?
Like, you don't want her to be mad at you. Like, you don't want to get in trouble.
Would you ever like to be a teacher?
No.
No. Why not?
Just I wouldn't like to be put through that. Yeah.
You know what you're putting him through, but you wouldn't want to be put through it yourself.
Yeah.
And what about learning for the sake of learning? Is there anything in that? I mean, just knowing about math, that's a fundamental science, there isn't? So why are you here?
Because I have to be.
Do you hate it?
Mm-hmm.
Hate math?
I hate math.
Hate school?
I hate school.
But you could drop out.
No, well, you don't want to drop out because then I can't do nothing when I get older.
But if you're not getting anything out of it in the meantime, what are you going to do when you get older?
I'm a pediatrician, so I don't have to know about acute angles.
Some of the subjects are useless, really, like history.
History.
When are you going to use history in your
History
life?
is useless?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
When are you going to use history?
You know that old saying that goes something like that he who ignores history is condemned to repeat the mistakes of the past? What about the teachers?
I like some teachers, but I think they teach us somewhat good, but the way they keep on explaining it and they keep on talking about it over and over again bores the class up.
I mean, do they have a point that sometimes they get pushed into subjects that they just don't need and don't care about? And if they don't want to go to college, they want to go off and find a job, that they're putting in their time and wasting everyone's time by doing that?
I would hope that that's not the
But it may
truth.
be, Miss Adams. I mean, it may be the case that sometimes they get stuck in a class for which there is no use for them.
Yeah, but they don't know that at a freshman level in high school. Maybe Sharon hates math, all right? And she hates algebra, but she hasn't even taken it, let's say. And all of a sudden she goes, hey, this is neat. It's gonna help her out, but how is she gonna know that unless she has it? And how many of these students know where they're gonna be 10 years from now?
What they're going to be
I
doing.
hated math.
You hated math?
I sat in my Algebra 1 class when I was in high school and said, I don't need this.
And now you're a math teacher.
Now I'm a math teacher.
That's the ultimate revenge.
There you go. That's it. Gonna get back at them all. All I know is Dad and Mom were home, and if I didn't pass, I got clobbered. That was the bottom line. I will learn it.
You get a classroom where there's straight A students, and you get a classroom, like that same class, there's students that just hang out. They slack off. They don't do nothing. And the teacher will be more towards the A students. They'll be like, you know, the ones that sit there like this, and they listen, and they don't mouth off. They don't talk in class. They're the perfect little angels that everybody, you know, every teacher wants. but then there's the ones like me, kind of like you see in our class where
If you don't have a copy of the test, I'll give you one. And you're going to make all the corrections for homework. And if you don't have them done correctly tomorrow, you're staying after school for detention. So that's your warning.
I'm sure Miss Geddick was really, really tense when she came, you know, and so was the rest of us. We were all like waiting for somebody to come in there and tell us, you know, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, and da-da-da-da, and da-da-da-da. But, you know, she did, but she, and that's why everybody turned cold to her. Like, everybody was, like, mean to her. They didn't like her.
St. John Bosco said that education is largely a matter of the heart. And that's why I'm going into it. It's largely a matter of the heart. That's why I see it. But when I get out of class, and I'm glad to be, the class is over and get rid of these kids, I said, is that what I want? Because I want to be there for the heart issue more than for the head issue.
Okay, everybody on gather. Second measure, bottom of 4. 3, 4.
When I was younger, I was always the one, if you wanted to pick on somebody, they would pick on me. I've done well scholastically, and I think that I did so well just because I was ostracized by my peers, and that's the way I could excel. And the best feeling of my life, I remember in 8th grade, I graduated with the top award. And when my father was walking up to communion, he patted me on the back and said, "Good job, Andrea." And that's a moment I'll never forget. I haven't been blessed abundantly with brains. I've worked hard. Blessed with, you know, elbow grease maybe, I think. I don't know why, but I'm always ready to start fresh and try and please people again. That's what I was thinking, you know. Like, I just broke up with my boyfriend, and sometimes I, you know, well, maybe I'm not good, you know. What did I do wrong? But people generally like me. There's something about me that people like. I think I can get along with all people. Because maybe it's because I don't want that people to feel like I felt. Because it's not fun being on the outside. The most important things to me are always the people I love. That's the most important. And that's why I want to love my students, too. Because that's what makes a good teacher, I think. You can't, not loving math. Now, this class we've been having some problems in here. And it's pretty obvious. And I'm going to be here for another 2 months now. Like it or not, I'm here for 2 months. So I figure we should try and work out the problems now, because if we don't, they're just going to get worse. It's going to make me dread coming to class, you're going to dread coming to class, and you have to be in class, so you might as well make it, I have to be here, so we might as well make it the best experience possible. But for you to just turn me off altogether is not going to help yourself learn. You have to try and pay attention. I'm not going to give up. This is going to be a good class. I'm not giving up. Don't think you got me, because you don't. This is going to be a good class. It is. I spent my hard-earned money to go to college. My parents didn't pay for my college. I paid for it. Tuition is over $7,000. I make maybe $2,000 in the summertime. You know, I've worked hard to get my degree. I've borrowed a lot of money, and I want to be a teacher, and I will be a teacher. And you are my students, one of my first groups, and I want to be a success here. I want you to be a success. Okay?
Feel better then?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot better?
Yeah.
I'm going to see how it goes tomorrow. Hand out the dittos and take your time with them then.
Right.
Oh, well. Won't be this bad all the time.
When she talked to us, we found out what was her point, what was inside her, what was, you know what I mean, how she felt. And then everybody started understanding a little bit better. And she's real nice now, and she's your friend, and she talks to you, and sure, when you do something wrong, she's like, don't do it. And she'll get mad, and she'll yell, but then it'll be over with. Mm-hmm. Now she's cool. She's like,
I think doing a good job in the classroom is like the Chinese acrobatic act, where they stand all these long poles up and keep all these plates spinning simultaneously, and you have to keep them all going. And in the case of education, it's like doing that same kind of a trick with Lennox China, because if you let them drop, you can really break something very valuable, and you don't want to do that.
Mary Lou Blake is also a practice teacher from Georgian Court College. She's been married to a teacher for many years, and at the age of 43, she decided to become one herself.
He says, I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him, because Brutus has just finished saying Caesar was ambitious. So Antony's going to start off looking like he's going along with the program. But how does he appear on the scene? He uses props throughout this scene very effectively.
To take a group of sophomores and tell them they're going to read Shakespeare invites a certain number of human reactions that, to me, are very parallel with the reactions to grief, childbirth, a lot of things that there's no way to escape. But the mental reaction, the first one is rejection. I'm not going to do this. There must be some way out of it. I'm not gonna. And after the kicking and screaming lets out, then there's anger, and then it gets down to resignation, and we're just about past resignation now, and we're into participation, like push in the case of birth, or okay, go on with your life in the case of grief, or whatever else.
For the book report, do we have to write sentences also with the definitions?
Yes, a minimum of 5 words, definitions and sentences.
All right.
And of course, interesting, fascinating context.
People my age bring a certain something that cannot be brought by young people. I walk into a classroom, and if I play my cards right, there is a certain amount of authority figurism built in, so I don't have to do certain battles that younger teachers have to do. There is also, however, a certain amount of inbuilt authority figure reaction to which I am subjected that younger teachers are not. Because a younger teacher who can go in and establish some form of discipline is related to in a different sense than I am. I am an older person, obviously somebody's mother. And mother is taken in lots of different ways, In some contexts, that's good. In others, it's not so good.
Mary Lou teaches 143 students, trying to get them to read, speak, and enjoy the English language. Like most English teachers, she works an average of 60 hours, teaching the curriculum, preparing lesson plans, keeping records, monitoring the halls, and other chores. Grading and reading the essays on one major test took 70 hours alone. Educational reformers have declared it is impossible for one person to teach 143 students effectively.
Can't be done.
But still, She tries. Her workload is not unusual, especially for a new teacher.
Kids can float through high school for 4 solid years and nobody there can actually know them. Just something goes through your mind that there was no response there, or there's no spark, or there's no something, or there is something, but there is no opportunity to follow it up. And I hate to just fill out a computer card in a kid. This is, you can't be a bleeding heart for every one of the 100 and whatever lives that you touch, but there has to be a human side of it too. And I don't want some kid to get a view of himself based on a little card that comes in the mail. There just isn't enough time to get a kid aside and say, what's the problem here?
For the last year and a half, I would think Mary Lou's schedule on a day-to-day basis is close to 20 hours a day. And in that 20 hours of staying awake, she slotted in practice teaching and preparation, being a wife, being a mother, stained glass calligraphy, photography, all sundry details. And sadly to say, I would go off to bed, Brian would go off to bed, and Lou would be out here, and something would happen, I'd roll over, wake up, and Lou would be out here. And that's the kind of speed she works on. There's no brake in Mary Lou's car, only a gas pedal.
Truly, if you're interested in young people and you do have a family, there's no doubt that it's a beneficial field that way too. Because even our son, Brian, has said that he's thought of it because teaching does afford you the opportunity to be around when your kids are being kids. And he intends to have a good family life too. Hello there. I think maybe we should get you out of here.
I started 25 years ago in the classroom, and I would like very much after Mary Lou hopefully gets a contract someplace to go back to the classroom immediately. And I enjoy what I've done administratively. There's a lot of interesting experiences, some funny, not so funny. But the real enjoyment, I think, is what goes on in the classroom. I think the critical thing is teachers expose their soul in the classroom. And kids see a side of teachers that they may not even see of their own parents.
If you expose the fact that you really like what you're doing, or, other people are going to tell you that this is really boring and it's old and it's whatever, but don't buy that. Just make your own decision. And if you can turn on a few people to that, or get them to fit a few things together, that's exciting. And you have to admit that it's exciting, and that's exposing yourself. And you're expecting kids to do that too. Because you have to get that first kid to put his hand up when everybody else is sitting cool and doesn't want to participate,
Despite the odds, despite the indignities, despite the trends, each May brings graduation and a new group of people who want to teach. Their numbers are down by half, but still they come. Andrea Geddick graduates cum laude with a degree in mathematics. She will begin teaching in the Toms River School District at the New Jersey minimum salary of $18,500.
Mary Ellen Mong, summa cum laude.
Mary Ellen Mong will be a special education teacher in Brigantine, New Jersey. She's from a family of teachers. She never gave it a second thought.
Mary Louise Fennelly Blake.
Mary Lou Blake will teach English to 150 sophomores at Toms River East High. Perhaps now her husband will return to the classroom as well. The odds say that 1 out of 3 of these new teachers will be doing something else in a couple of years, and those odds are increasing. But for now, they want to teach. It's that simple. And that is what makes education work.
My name.
It's done.
What we must remember is that good teachers are a national resource, and we're in danger of losing them. Teaching should not be a reward in itself. Good teachers should expect our respect and more money. They should demand our attention. As we have seen tonight, to be a teacher, to be a good teacher, is a demanding challenge, and it is a challenge reserved not just for the teachers, but for all of us.